Hello and welcome to week 3 in the psychology of adulthood, and we are going to be looking at chapter 3, transitions into adulthood. And what we are mostly looking at is what anthropologists refer to as rites of passage, which is our ages, social clocks, events sometimes, ceremonies, changes in responsibilities, changes in social roles, and that define periods in our life as we're aging. And so the interesting thing about living in the West, in the United States, is being a multicultural society, there are relatively few universal transitions into adulthood. In fact, there's many of them. There's not, but just that one. Certainly there's a big one in most places when you turn 18, you're an adult. However, you get your driver's license when you're 16. You can sell tobacco and alcohol products as a employee at age 16, depending on the state that you live in, and get married at certain times. And other times, it's not so much the legal definition per se of when we become an adult, but it's transitions that we make in terms of our perceived role and our responsibilities and maybe it's when we moved out of home, maybe it's when we graduated from college, maybe it wasn't until we had our first child that we finally felt like we were an adult. So very different than, say, some of the older in the ancient world, where the number of social roles that exist within society were relatively small. So the transitions from childhood to adulthood were rather abrupt. Or rather than a person transitioned from childhood with little responsibilities into full responsibility as an adult, beginning the next day. And so we look at those and how they manifest in our society today. I give you the story, a rather lengthy story, of the various events through my own life, a selection of them, they're not all there, that happened in my life that signified that's sort of adultish, or that's I'm adulting, or that was cool. And looking at the different ones that were there about how I emotionally experienced my own perception of becoming an adult. What I'm asking you to do in the discussion is essentially the same thing, describing any experiences you had that said, hey, that's when I felt like I was an adult. The assignment, okay, is a little bit complex. And I still have, as I'm recording this, I know that I have to set this up later. I'm recording this on Sunday. It's going to be available. You're watching it on Monday. I'm going to be setting up a series of discussion boards, basically putting you in groups. Don't know how many people per group. Each member of that group has an individual responsibility to create, I think I said 10 items, at least 10 items, 10 items that you think these are, places I would be in my life, responsibilities I would have, that would define me as an adult. If you were going to put an ad out looking for an adult, they would have to, meet the majority of these. They own their own house, they have a job, they pay their own bills, whatever, have a kid, whatever. They have those things, and they're not yes or no. So there'll be ratings. To what degree, have you done this thing? You paid your own bills. Over the last month, to what degree, 1 to 5 rating scale, did you take responsibility for that? And maybe it's like, pay most of my bills, but my parents are still paying for my phone bill or something like that. Not a 5, it's going to be less than that. So you're creating kind of a quiz or a rating scale for 10 items that you feel are would be good measures of you being an adult. You then, within your groups, are going to share those. You're going to post them inside the discussion board, and you're going to take at least, everybody's got to get at least one other person taking their test. So you've taken it. How well did you do in the last month being an adult, and you have at least one more person has taken your test, and you've taken somebody else's test, taking each other's tests, so you have data that's been collected and it's in the discussion board. So when I take somebody's test, I would copy that document, I would fill it out and give a score, and I would post it back into the discussion board. And that's the discussion part. You're sharing each other's perspective on the 10 things that you think are important to becoming an adult. And you're sharing to what degree do you feel that you have met that other person's criteria for being an adult. And just being honest. There's really, like I said, there's really no definitive thing. And for many people in college, particularly in today's economy, not all those traditional aspects of what should be happening at age 22, 23, 24, 25 are necessarily happening. So be honest, do those things, and then that's the discussion board that's going to last all week. At some point at the end, toward the end of the week, what I want you to do is every individual now has to write up the assignment for themselves. You're going to write up the assignment in accordance to the grading rubric. So you're going to have in your paper that you're producing to me, you're going to have a title page. You're going to include a blank, uncompleted version of your test that you created. You're going to summarize. Oh, I'm looking at this. This is a little bit of a change to the assignment as it's written. So sorry, I'm going to ask you to submit a paper to me. So you're submitting your test. The blank test is in that document. Then you have a version of the test that you filled out, and then a reflection in how the other person filled out your same test, and just a reflection on the discussion that you had. So I'm changing the assignment a little bit here, so make sure you watch this video because there is something for you to hand in. There's a chapter. There's a chapter 3 assignment that you have to hand in. So make sure that you hand that and not just the discussion. Okay, so that's it for this week. So have a great week, and I will see you online. Take care.